Will my clients choose the double vanity in house number 1? Or the crazy drawer in house number 2? Or the popcorn ceiling in house number 3? I don't know. I guess you will have to watch the show and see us. Catch up with us in House Hunters next week. What did my clients and I got to do? Hint, involves lots of cameras, wonderful cameraman, 1 house, 2 houses, 3 houses, a fabulous crew and a choice. What's your best guess? So today in What Does It All Mean, we are going to talk about PT. So what is PT? PT is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And those are the typical 4 elements that make your mortgage payment in a monthly basis. Your principal and your interest goes to your lender, and the taxes and the insurance is what we call an escrow. You can actually ask your lender to take that escrow on your behalf. They take it on a monthly basis, and they then pay the taxes and the insurance on your behalf. Hello, today in What Does It All Mean, we are going to talk about attorney and inspection review. These are 2 common contingencies that are in a contract to buy a home. It will allow for a buyer to have some time here in Illinois, 5 business days, to hire an inspector to inspect the home, as well as to have their lawyer to revise the contract and make sure everything is okay. Here we also call that period AI. What does it all mean? Today we're going to talk about as is. As is a clause in a contract that tells you that the seller is not going to fix or repair any problems that the property may have. Sometimes sellers require that the houses are sold as is. Sometimes buyers might offer to buy a house as is to get an advantage against other offers that this house may have. The important thing to remember is that you are still allowed to do an inspection. As is and the inspection clause are 2 different things. Hi everyone! Today in What Does It All Mean, we are going to talk about earnest money. So what is earnest money? Earnest money is a deposit that a potential buyer makes after their offer has been accepted on a property. It is very important because it is an indication of how serious of a buyer that person is to buy this particular property. So before you put a number on a contract about how much earnest money you're gonna give to a seller, please make sure to discuss it with your buyer's agent and figure out which one will be the best strategy to help you out, especially if you are on a multiple offer situation. Sometimes the higher that earnest money, the more serious of a buyer you will look in front of the seller.
Good morning, Jennifer. I have a question for you.
Yes.
What does a buyer representation agreement mean?
Good question. A buyer's representation agreement is a contract between a home buyer and a real estate agent. The contract will outline the duties of the real estate agent along with the compensation the real estate agent will receive when the home closes. Hope that helps.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
What does it all mean? Today, let's talk about disclosures. Whether you're a buyer or seller, you're going to have to sign 3 disclosures. The first one let's talk about is lead. If your home was built prior to 1978, the seller has to disclose whether or not they know if there's lead in the home. The second one is radon. Again, the seller has to disclose whether they have any knowledge of radon currently in the house and any paperwork associated. The third one is the property disclosure. There are 23 questions that the seller has to answer, like, have they lived in the house? Is there any material defects to the well? Is there any material defects to the roof? If they say no, that is a great thing. But if they say yes, they have to describe what the problem is. And this way, the buyer knows exactly what you're getting into before you buy that house. Hope this helps.
Hi there. What does it all mean? Today, let's talk about PMI, also known as private mortgage insurance. PMI is a policy that is taken out by the lender to prevent loss caused by the purchaser's default on the mortgage. You will be paying PMI if you have less than 20% equity on your property. Hope this helps.
Hi, it's Jennifer Anteliz with Around Town Real Estate Group, and today I'm showing a house in Century Hill Subdivision in Naperville. This 5-bedroom house is gorgeous, but you know what else makes it special?
Hi Jennifer.
Hi, Carelys.
So today we're doing what does it all mean? Could you please tell us what closing costs are?
I would love to. Closing costs are the fees, taxes, and administrative costs associated with buying and selling a property.
And can you give us some examples of those?
Some of those fees would include lender, legal, title, and taxes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for clarifying that for us. See you next time.
Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio today. It's Jennifer Anteliz, and she's a realtor with Baird Warner. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Tell me a little bit about why you wanted to become a realtor.
It started when with an experience I had several years back. We were selling our home, and we were introduced to a Baird Warner realtor, and she just made the entire process so wonderful and so seamless. She explained everything along the way, and after we sold, I had to buy a house, and she really listened to everything that I was saying and showed me properties that fit me and what I wanted, and it was just a wonderful experience, and that really stayed with me all this time.
That's wonderful. Most of the time, people always think that you don't really need a realtor, that you can do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that not a good idea? What does a realtor do?
We're managing so many different pieces. There's a lot of moving pieces at the same time, and we need to manage everything. I need to know what's happening in the marketplace. I need to understand what's happening in the neighborhood. I need to know what the pricing has done in the past and what it could go in the future. I also need to be able to explain contracts to you. So there's a 13-page contract. What does it mean? Why are you signing it? You know, so people need to understand this whole process. I also need to be able to negotiate. So I'm going to be negotiating with either a buyer or a seller on your behalf. And so I'm going to be negotiating price. I could be negotiating time. I could be negotiating something other, something of value that's important to you. I need to be working with the inspectors, you know, and making sure everything happens at the right time. I need to be working with attorneys and make sure everything's on time. We need to work with the lenders and make sure that the whole process happens smoothly all the way to close. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people just don't realize happen, that we take care of.
Well, and I think also that it's our largest purchase.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we make our lives in our home. We all think about going home. It's our home, you know. And so I think another hat you wear is counselor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because sometimes the families don't agree on what they want. And you need to be that voice of reason. I understand that you want this, but here's what the market is saying. You know, and we also, it's hard to hear about the value of someone's home because, to your point, that's their prized possession, and it may not be worth out in the marketplace what they think it is. So that's a hard conversation to have, and it's a hard conversation to hear. So I have to tread lightly.
That's right. Well, it's a big role that you play. Why did you choose Baird Warner?
One of the things that interested me was I knew that they were customer focused. Obviously, I had that experience firsthand.
Right.
And when I met with the managing broker out in Naperville, Bill Gill, I knew immediately that this is the company I wanted to work with. They spend so much time training and supporting all of their agents, but not only their agents, they also support the community, and that's a big deal for me. So the Naperville office supports Loaves and Fishes. They support 360 Youth Services. Naperville responds to veterans and the Rib Fest.
That's a lot, and it is important. Now, Baird Warner has been around since before the Chicago fire. They played an important role for Chicago in that.
They have been, and some people don't realize that Baird Warner is the oldest real estate firm in the country. They've been around since 1855. So needless to say, they've seen a couple market changes throughout their careers.
And now, how long have they been in Naperville?
Baird Warner has the largest market share in Naperville. So we're the #1 with listing and selling in Naperville. We're the #1 office with listings and sales in the surrounding suburbs. So what does that mean for our clients? It means that you're getting all that expertise and knowledge behind you, and we're supporting you all the way.
I think that's important. It says a lot. The firm behind the realtor says a lot. So I think
Absolutely.
absolutely important. So tell me, what makes you different from everybody else?
I think what makes me different is I work from the heart. It's very important to me that my clients have a positive experience from beginning to end. There may be some hiccups along the way, but the whole process is a positive one. I absolutely love working with first-time home buyers. When they get that first home and they find that home, it's just so fulfilling. We get to close and they get their keys. That's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling for me, and it's why I do what I do. Also, I'll tell you a story. I had this family that were moving up in size house. Their family was growing. And we were looking at 9 homes in one day. And it was a rainy day and everybody was tired. But at the end, we got to this one house and they fell in love. And I could tell, you know, and that's what makes it worth it. They loved the house. We went back the next day. We put in an offer in, and they got the house. And they love it, and I still visit them, and it's so rewarding. What I do is very rewarding.
You play a huge role in what makes a house a home by helping us find our home.
It could be one of your biggest investments. It's a lot of money, it takes a lot of time, and it's an important decision. And so to be a part of that with somebody is very rewarding.
So, Jennifer, you had a few life changes that kind of led you to be a realtor. So tell me a little bit about how this all came together and now has been just a wonderful life change for you.
It has. So a few years back, my husband and I got a divorce, which is why we were selling the home. And our realtor was absolutely amazing throughout that process. And then she helped me purchase my own home. My corporation was doing some downsizing, so my role was eliminated. So that was a little stressful after I just purchased a home. So I was fortunate enough to land another role within the same company. So 2 weeks after starting that new position, I was diagnosed with cancer. So I went through surgery, went through 2 rounds of chemo, then went through radiation, and came out of that okay.
Awesome.
Yep.
So happy about that.
Thank you so much. And then after about a year, my role was eliminated again. And the whole process is very stressful, looking for a role and not knowing about your future. And at that point, I knew I don't want to go through this anymore. So I left the company and started to do real estate, and I knew immediately this is what I wanted to do based on the experience that I had. It's a rewarding business and so fulfilling, and I'm just so glad that this is where I'm at in my life.
That's wonderful. Well, I thank you for stopping by and visiting with me a little bit and tell me a little bit about what you do, why it's important, and how you and Baird and Warner play a big role in our community. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio today. She's going to help us demystify the buying and selling of homes, and she is Christine Thompson. She's a broker sales associate with Baird Warner. Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, we often, I think about buying or selling a home and get a little stalled and get a little overwhelmed very quickly. Let's start with how do you help me uncomplicate this process as a consumer? There's so much information out there.
Well, there is. There's a lot of cyber overload, I'll call it, a lot. And the scary part is it's not all correct information. There could be a lot of misinformation, and it can lead you into the wrong roads and possibly make decisions that aren't correct.
Right,
based on your needs.
We all assume that the internet is up to date.
No, it's not. There's probably over 1,000 consumer real estate websites that you can go to shop for homes, and not all of them are real-time and updated. So I've had clients go to me, say, hey, you didn't send me this property or that, why not? It's under contract. We can't go out and buy a house under contract. So I really try to help my buyers keep them from spinning their wheels, shopping online for homes. I have a great website. It's real-time with the MLS. So that way, when they go to my site, they're looking at actual homes that don't have contracts, and they can actually consider purchasing them and seeing them.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that kind of leads me to my next question: is that how do we find, or where should we start? Would be a better idea. I mean, if we're buying or selling a home, where do we start with that process? Do we go to how do we find you?
As a buyer, you want to first find out what can I afford. Get a good lender, and if you don't have a lender out there that you've worked with in the past, get a good agent. That agent is going to have very good lenders for you to recommend to you, because the agent wants to be sure that your transaction is going to close. Right. So it really all starts with the money. If the lender can't come through with the financing, you're going to be sitting at that closing table having problems.
Well, and also it gives you an idea of your budget, because I think we often go online and think that we can afford maybe more than we have.
Yeah, and even buyers that go online thinking I'll just get pre-qualified online, that's just a system. They don't know about your income. You may put in your income, but they don't know about your work history, your credit scores, all of that. And when you work with a lender in person, they're going to be asking you all the questions to make sure you're not going to have any derailments. because you're spending money in the process of purchasing a home. You want to make sure you have solid lending and no surprises during that underwriting process. So
Absolutely.
you can be sure you can close.
Yeah, and I think more people are going to probably need to go to an agent, and not a lot of us are doing these types of big lending transactions. So, how do we find that agent like you? How do we know if we've got somebody that's good or bad?
Well, referrals are always good.
Okay.
If you don't have referrals and you're going online and you're reaching out to agents just randomly, pick the agent that wants to meet you in their office.
Okay.
Instead of just, hey, I'll meet you at the house and show you a couple of houses. You should meet with an agent that wants to tell you the services they're going to do for you. Because you are indirectly paying them. You have the right to know, what are you going to do for me? Make sure they're full-time. So that way they have the dedication and the schedule to be out there previewing the homes for you, trying to find the inventory for you if you're not liking what you're seeing. So do they have the time to be thinking about you instead of working as a barista somewhere and they're distracted and they can't answer their phone calls? Time is of the essence. They got to be available for you.
Where does experience come into play?
Do they have any designations or certifications? I have 8.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
my
awesome.
manager almost says, really, 8? Come on.
Yeah. No, that's
but I'm
awesome.
like, I want to have a lot of tools in my toolbox.
Sure.
So I can assist in any way a situation occurs that I can help my client.
Well, I kind of view you as the captain of the team. If I'm buying a home, that means I'm selling, and if I'm selling a home, it means I'm buying. So, can you be the same agent? Can I have the same agent?
Absolutely, and it's actually better because when you're selling a house, you're going to end up buying a house. You got to have someone that can coordinate all the timing, working with the attorneys and the inspectors, the appraisers, to make sure everything is being done and meeting all those contract dates. There's a lot of contract dates to keep track of.
There is.
You don't want to slip through the cracks on that, and then the deal falls apart on either side. So you got to have someone that's managing that whole transaction for you. To have 2 different agents, it's so complicated. And now you have to start disclosing things about yourself to another agent. You want to have that circle of trust.
Right.
It's teamwork.
And you said trust is a big thing. You've got to trust.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's an emotional time for me if I'm buying or selling a home.
Yeah, it's a very big emotional roller coaster.
It's a lot of extra work, and I'm working. I have a family, so that's where I think
I don't know how people do it. I don't want to move. I mean, you're busy with your own life, and then you're throwing on top of that, hey, I'm moving and packing, and I got to deal with all that. So I'm there to make it easy for my client, so they don't have to be worried about all the details of the transaction. I take care of it all.
That's great.
Yeah.
And talk to me when it comes to selling your home. What should I be looking for that? Somebody that knows how to really market that home, I would assume?
Absolutely. You want someone that knows how to market it. They have the power to do it. And not just what their brokerage can do to market it. Is that agent doing something? What's the extra mile they're going? For me, I'd pay for enhanced listing exposure on Zillow and Realtor.com. Those are the 2 biggest consumer realtor websites.
Okay.
So I'm getting that extra exposure. So when people are typing in the criteria they're looking for in a home, my properties are going to pop up on that first page.
Excellent.
Instead of falling under the 10th page and you're not getting seen. So I think 92% of buyers start online.
They do. Well, we want to get a little head start. We actually think we're helping in some ways. In some ways, we're probably not, but we think we're being helpful. But I also think when you're selling your home that a realtor really can help you with staging.
Yes. I mean, the key things to think about to get your house sold is staging your house well, pricing it well, and marketing. And your agent is supposed to be your megaphone to the marketplace.
I like that.
If they're not getting the word out to the whole world, you can stage it great and price it well. If no one knows about it, you're not going to sell your house.
I love that megaphone.
It's huge.
Yeah,
but it's true.
True.
You don't know where your buyer's coming from and what your type of buyer is going to be. You got to reach out to a huge audience. And so for me, I like to use the analogy of golfing. I have my golf bag of all my clubs, and I use every club possible because we don't know what club that buyer is going to pull out to find the house.
That's excellent.
Are they going to go online? Are they going to look at a postcard? Are they looking at social media? I make sure it's out there in every avenue possible because I don't know where they're going to come from. I like to shake that tree and find that buyer instead of just sit back.
That's awesome. You also, speaking of your 8 designations, you're designated as a luxury home agent.
I am.
So talk to me a little bit about what makes that market a little different, and what makes you a really awesome agent doing that.
People buying luxury homes are not buying it because I need 4 bedrooms and I need 3.5 baths and a 3-car. They're buying it for lifestyle. So marketing a luxury home, you really have to be telling a story about the home. I pull out my previous experience as an advertising agent. I worked in direct marketing at a top 10 Chicago agency.
Right.
I use those tools to know how to tell the story about each house. They're all unique, and I have to find out what's unique about it so I can tell that story, make it stand out from all the other beautiful homes. They're all beautiful, you know. You walk in any of them, they're all beautiful. But what's going to make a buyer pick that particular house? I tell the story that's going to speak to that particular audience looking for that type of house.
And your buyers usually international?
A lot of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a special international MLS system in addition to the MLS system all the agents use. So I can network with not just here, but I can network with brokers internationally that have buyers shopping internationally. So I have great exposure internationally to get that word out. I have my Proxio Pro. Baird Warner has the world, luxury properties, and we have the leading real estate companies of the world. So I'm hitting it like 4 times over, fourfold over. So if one of the systems isn't reaching a broker, another system is.
Christine, I can tell you love what you do.
I do.
Can you quickly tell me what's the most rewarding part for you?
Making clients happy. And that's my hole-in-one in golf. When I got that happy client, it's so rewarding. That's the energy I get in my business, because this is a tough business. It's really hard. It's a lot of work, and if you're only in it for the money, you will not last. You cannot last in this business if you're only doing it for the money. You have to get that. The reward is with the happy clients.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some of those tips to think about when we're looking to choose an agent to buy or sell our home. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We'll be right back with more Business Connection. Stay tuned.